Hello everyone, my dear friends. Once again, fate tests this small family. Maya, the innocent and tender girl, battles a severe fever, confined to a hospital bed instead of going to school with Joy, carrying her backpack. They flee, finding no comfort. Their hearts ache with every moment as they witness the little girl suffering. But it's not just worry. The costs of treatment pile up day after day. A silent man, his clothes soaked with sweat and road dust, exhausts himself with hard work, rushing from place to place to gather every penny he can for Maya. Every drop of sweat falling from his brow is a silent pledge of love for this little girl who has never called him Dad. The crucial question now is, will all these sacrifices be rewarded? Will the day come when Maya calls him Dad with love, or will fate continue to test them to the utmost limit? Join me until the end to feel every moment of emotion, those smiles intertwined with tears. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the most poignant moments to come. Jay stood there with red eyes, his rough hands clenched tightly until his veins stood out. He watched the little girl cry, feeling as if his heart would shatter into 1,000 pieces. He wished he could bear this pain himself, wished he could suffer in Maya's place. He wouldn't hesitate for a second, but the man who endured so much hardship in the fields, under the scorching sun, and through life's struggles was helpless. Now, he could only stand still, watching the little girl cry in pain that tore him apart inside. Joy sat beside him, holding the girl in her arms. Her tears fell slowly, though she tried to smile and soothe her with a trembling voice. "Maya, my little girl, you are so strong. Just a little longer, and everything will pass. Mommy is here, always with you." Maya cried several times, her small hands trying to grasp her mother's. Little by little, exhaustion overcame her, and she fell asleep in Joy's arms, breathing heavily on her shoulder. Jay approached, his eyes brimming with tears, gazing at the mother and daughter. He sat on the edge of the bed and placed his rough hand gently on Maya's forehead, as if making a silent promise. His voice dropped until it broke. "Stay with her, take care of her. Maya needs you now more than ever. With all these medical expenses and the house we just finished, I'll look for another job. If I get more money, I'm sure I can support them." Joy looked at him, her eyes glistening with pain. She squeezed his hand and spoke with a lump in her throat. "You've done so much for me and Maya. I feel guilty for letting you bear everything." Jay squeezed her hand harder and shook his head. "Don't say that. All I wish is that Maya calls me Dad even once, and that everything I've given was worth it." Joy couldn't hold back her emotions. Tears streamed from her eyes, falling onto their clasped hands. Silence filled the room, accompanied only by the sound of the wind through the window and the beating of their heavy hearts. Jay stood up slowly. His thin shoulders, though steadfast, were covered by his old, worn jacket. He looked at Maya once more with a faint but resolute smile. Then he turned and left the room. The sound of the door closing echoed in the air. Joy hugged her daughter. Her gaze followed his shadow as it faded into the horizon. She knew that out there, he would dedicate himself to work again, no matter how exhausted, to earn every penny and every drop of hope for the little girl. In that cold room, beside Maya's halting breaths, Joy whispered through her tears, "I only wish Maya understands one day all that you sacrificed and calls you Dad, as you've always dreamed." In his mind, there was only the image of Maya lying on the hospital bed and Joy's anxious look. Jay pressed his lips together, his steps heavy but steady, heading toward the construction site. There, the sun scorched his thin back, while the echo of the cement mixer resounded in the yard, mixed with the clanging of metal. The air was filled with lime, moisture, and dust. The workers exchanged glances. He nodded from the corner of his eye, then returned to the grueling work. Moving forward, he rolled up his sleeves without complaint. Before him were sacks of cement heavier than his body, cold bricks, buckets of sticky sand. His frail shoulders bent, carrying a weight that seemed impossible. Sweat mingled with the sunlight streaming over his tired face, but he kept walking in silence, as if each step carried a promise for Maya. His shirt's fabric tore as he rubbed the bricks. His rough hands bled from the rope binding them, but he didn't let go. He gritted his teeth and kept sinking into the rhythm of hammering, mixing cement, and weighing each load. Again and again, he poured all his strength into his work to avoid thinking of the pain in his heart, to forget the cold seeping into his bones. During a brief rest, he looked at the night sky covered with dark clouds. His breath came out in white puffs. With his stiffened hands, he wiped the sweat mixed with rain. Then he clenched his fist tightly and whispered to himself, "Maya, wait, please." The sound of the mixer roared again, pulling Jay back to the relentless rhythm of the construction site. He carried more sacks of sand, lifted more piles of bricks, as if carrying Maya and Joy on his shoulders. His thin, strong frame wasn't suited for him, but for the father who hadn't yet realized the life expected for that little girl he loved as if she were his own flesh and blood. After a full day immersed in the construction site amidst dust and cement, exhausted from his labor, Jay returned silently to the newly finished small house. In the kitchen, still fragrant with the smell of fresh bamboo, he opened an old wooden cabinet and took out a small box he had prepared days ago. A simple gift, but filled with all the love and hope he held for Maya. Before leaving, he lit the fire and cooked a pot of rice porridge quickly. The scent of boiling grains filled the house, warm as the warmth of his heart. As he stirred the porridge, he thought of Maya's somber expression on the hospital bed and told himself that if she tasted just a few spoonfuls, the little girl would regain some strength. Suddenly, Bibi, the small dog beside him, began to bark. His eyes shone with worry, as if he, too, sensed something wrong. Jay paused for a moment, a feeling overtaking him suddenly. He wrapped the porridge in gift quickly and ran to the hospital, his steps seeming not to touch the ground. In the hospital courtyard, under a bench wet from the rain, he saw Joy hugging Maya tightly. Joy's face was tense, her eyes heavy with sorrow. As for Maya, still frail, tears streamed down her cheeks. That scene was like 1,000 knives piercing Jay's heart. He felt choked by pain and helplessness. He approached quickly, knelt beside them, and said in a hoarse voice, trying to muster a faint smile, "Little Maya, are you feeling better? Look, I brought you a gift. I hope it helps you smile more." Maya's eyes widened, sparkling with happiness through her tears. With her small, trembling hands, she took the box and smiled faintly. "Thank you so much, Uncle Jay." That innocent smile, though fragile, was enough to erase all the exhaustion within him. Jay stood there watching the little girl embrace the gift, feeling a lightness in his heart, all the effort and pain. If it was enough to bring that small bit of joy, it was worth it. Maya opened the small box. Her tiny hands still trembled from weakness. When she tore the paper, a white teddy bear appeared, carefully chosen by Jay from a small shop in town. A delicate pink ribbon was tied around its neck. Maya's eyes lit up, forgetting for a moment the pain tormenting her. She hugged the bear tightly to her chest and smiled faintly, an innocent smile she hadn't shown in a long time. Her voice was weak but full of joy. "I love it. Thank you, Uncle Jay." Jay remained silent, watching Maya embrace the stuffed animal. Suddenly, he felt a strange warmth flowing through his heart. All the fatigue from the construction site, the sweat, even the blood on his hands, seemed to vanish. Just seeing that smile, any sacrifice was worth it. Joy sat beside him, gently stroking her daughter's hair. Her eyes still reflected worry. She looked at Jay and said in a soft but heavy voice, "The doctor said Maya will stay in the hospital for a few more days for observation. With this high fever, we can't take risks." He nodded, his eyes full of worry, though he tried to keep a calm tone. "I understand. Stay calm by her side. I'll handle the costs. As long as Maya gets the treatment she needs, I'll do what's necessary." Joy looked at him with red eyes, wanting to thank him, but he didn't utter a word. He nodded slightly and hugged his daughter and the bear tightly, as if he wanted to place all his trust in Jay. Under that roof, those three small souls supported each other through adversity. In that moment, despite the worry still weighing on their hearts, A spark of hope shone, that Maya would recover soon, and their family would hear joyful laughter again instead of quiet sobs.